Welcome to Pioneers in Payments, where payments experts share their insights. Now, here's our host, Donna Blum.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Pioneers in Payments. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Jeff Manchester from Fin3 Technologies. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning. So glad that you could join us here today. Jeff, to get us started, though, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, your background in the payments industry, and the work that you do at Fin3 Technologies?
Absolutely. More than happy to. So, I've spent my entire career in the payment space, probably pushing 30 some odd years. Spent the first few decades on the issuing of credit cards for both private label and co branded credit cards for GE in 37 different countries, as well as a lot in the US. The product that I patented and developed is a so-called dual card that helped to keep merchants' interchange rates low for some of the in-store related purchases for some of the dual cards at some of the large kind of multinational global merchants. After 20 some odd years at GE, I migrated to MasterCard and spent 5 years on the network side, managing the relationship with Bank of America and Synchrony, the offshoot of GE, and lived through the Durbin kind of migration as we had to add the dual kind of capabilities, the launch of EMV post the kind of breaches here in the US, and then as we migrated to launch some of the digital solutions in the Apple Pay type world. After MasterCard, have spent a lot of time in this fintech arena, helping a variety of merchants and players navigate the space. The Fin3 Technologies is a fintech I'm really excited to talk about that's helping on the digital front. And we've got three products: a tokenized deposit platform, a stables platform, as well as a digital draft product that helps to reduce check fraud for banks. And check fraud, as we know, is a $25 billion problem here in the US. So we've got three solutions that are helping some of the community banks and banks in this space to become as competitive as they can be. And we're really happy about the changes to the Genius Act and all that's really creating some more clarity, so to speak, on the Genius Act that can help as we move forward with tokenized deposits and other kind of innovative solutions that we see coming down the pike.
That's great. Well, and I always love talking about what's coming, what's newest and what's coming, because this industry is just so dynamic. And I can only imagine the stories that you would have to tell from the last 3 decades in the payments industry. What a lot of change you've seen, right?
It's been an interesting ride, and the J curve seems to be getting even faster.
That's wonderful. Faster's good. So, with all that is happening in the industry today, we're really trying to, on this podcast kind of distill the latest trends and opportunities and challenges, kind of break it down for our audience. Let's start off with what would you say is the most notable trend in the payments industry today?
It would have to be digital. Obviously, if we all think back to I guess The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman and the future is plastic, or whatever the kind of paraphrase is there. Obviously, with the advent of digital wallets, digital cards, digital assets, there's a whole new kind of world that obviously is replacing the physical cash, the checks, and as the regulatory clarity is now here and upon us, we can now begin to innovate around some of these digital capabilities. So certainly that little phone we kind of carry around is enabling, and it is at the center of it all to solve whether it's faster payments or faster settlement or lowering costs, and providing a really awesome consumer experience. So I would have to say it's no longer plastic from the Dustin Hoffman kind of graduate area into the digital world that we're now facing into, and creating a lot of great opportunities in light of regulatory clarity.
Yeah, that's great. As you were talking, I was just thinking about how I love that I have my credit cards in my digital wallet. I never go anywhere without my phone. But there has been an occasion where maybe I'm checking out and I'm digging in my purse and I can't find my credit card and I start to have that moment of panic, like, oh no, but then it's like, oh, it's on my phone. I'm good. So I like that.
I agree. The tap to pay convenience is a really awesome feature, and on your watches as well. And I'm
Yes.
sure other devices will come to fruition.
Yes, and it'll be fun to see what those devices look like, right? Will it be glasses? Will they be a piece of jewelry? I don't know. Sky's the limit.
That is true.
So, with all that is happening in the industry, obviously there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of challenges, but we're going to try to boil it down to what you would say is the greatest opportunity for organizations that process payments today.
I think the theme, at least from my perspective, is the regulatory clarity insofar as UCC Article 12, which many of your listeners may or may not be familiar with. It kind of reinforced kind of the digital assets and is creating a framework for controllable electronic records. It's been ratified in 32 states. Another six or so are working on it. One of our products, the Digital Drafts, help to kind of lead the forefront relative to that solution to digitize what was more of a physical check type world. The Genius Act, which is top of mind for many of us, is really kind of creating an opening for both the tokenized deposits and stable coins that can unleash a lot of both P2P as well as treasury solutions and maybe some changes at the point of sale. And kind of jumping off that thought, when PayPal emerged, probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was, I would say, a lot more complacency relative to purchases on the internet and is it going to take off and things of that nature. And PayPal obviously did a wonderful job of solving a problem that existed for some of those online transactions. Fast forward today, the networks have caught up, create a lot of digital solutions, tokenization, things of that nature that can help on the both online purchase, online convenience. Your phone reference earlier, obviously, some of the capabilities there. But it seems as though the four-party model has not changed much in a very long period of time. And with multiple parties in the mix, it certainly draws, I would say, a lot of cost into the network with as many parties as there are. So it seems to me kind of that with the innovation that may exist with some of these phones, with some of the clarity of the Genius Act, some of the angst the merchants tend to have about paying the 180 billion or so of merchant interchange that we've heard and read about relative to Nielsen reports and the like, seems as though it's ripe for some solutions in that regard. So, coupled with the Genius Act, these phones, a more dynamic point of sale kind of system that now exists, there may be an opportunity to help streamline and lower some of the costs. And maybe that involves tokenized deposits or stable coins or other digital solutions that are obviously leveraging some of the fiat capabilities. So that's my point of view.
Okay, so that's great. That's kind of the greatest opportunity right now in the industry for organization processing payments. What would you say is the greatest challenge?
So I think the biggest challenge. I think you mentioned a moment ago relative to where do you place your bets, and with the kind of legacy systems that exist, some of these expensive cores, some questions as to how do we prioritize some of these pilots or activities. It is obviously a very complicated banking platform system, multiple parties. So it's really tough to kind of adapt in this environment. So, when possible, when there's companies like a Fin3 or others that can help to provide some of that technology to allow one to test and learn, fail fast. We've got, software as a service type capabilities before being embedded into a core so we can test out some of the platform and capabilities. So, The biggest challenge, I think, is really the legacy systems, the platforms, and the speed at which kind of an entity can move. So leveraging third parties, like a Fin3 can help on that regard. Learn, fail fast, pivot, whatever the right approach would be as we face into the onslaught of the multitude of both fintechs and digital banks that are coming at attracting deposits and payment solutions for all of us.
Right. Well, and I think the option to partner with a fintech is really very smart. If you think about it, Jeff, you're working with many different clients, and so the solutions that you are offering have evolved from all of those different needs and use cases. And so really what you're putting forth is a best of breed type of solution. And so these organizations, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. These technologies already exist and can be leveraged in the short term as opposed to trying to build something from scratch and in a bubble, so to speak. So yeah, I love that. We're a fintech as well. So yeah, lots of great solutions out there. Perhaps traditionally these organizations have invested in their legacy apps and have opted to build in-house. But I think that considering partnering with fintechs is really a wise business move in today's economy and in today's industry.
Completely agree.
Great. All right. So, Jeff, we're really trying to kind of, like I said, boil this down. And so, this next question, I know it's difficult sometimes to just pick one thing, but what would you choose as your silver bullet piece of advice for payment organizations?
I agree with you. It's tough to kind of boil the ocean with a one silver bullet type solution. Um, in my opinion, it starts with, what is the voice of your customer? So when I first created the dual card, that was probably in the early 2000s, I followed all the IP and things of that nature and got feedback from our clients and partners relative to some of the nuances of that high cost of kind of merchant interchange. And we went ahead, launched the product in, 30 some odd different countries. So that solved a pain point that existed for some of the merchants. Today it still feels like that pain point exists, and um, perhaps with this kind of iPhone and the flexible point of sale systems, and maybe if some changes occur with this honor all kind of noise that we're seeing, that may allow some flexibility in that regard. It seems like that element of leveraging the tokenized deposit, the stablecoin could be a new tool kind of in the toolbox. May not replace kind of obviously everything. There's still a lot of embedded kind of capabilities out there, but the direction of where the puck is going certainly appears to be on the digital front. If it's a correspondent bank or a treasury operation with some of the nuances of ledger capabilities and the so-called title to money versus the physical settlement of money. There's some nuances in the Uniform Commercial Code Article 12 that really does clarify the ownership of a digital asset or a controllable electronic record that really wasn't as clear before some of this legislation was enacted. So, um, you know, recapping, like the silver bullet, really listening to the voice of your customer, whether it's a business or a consumer or a merchant. That's certainly, you can never go wrong with that front. um, Fast failing, partnering with some entities that are kind of in this space or adjacent to your space, to our space, and figuring out how to test and learn and fail fast and move on and learn and be ready to go where the puck is going.
Yeah, keep evolving, right? Yeah. Uh, don't get caught in the deer the deer in the headlight and so many options and then just decide not to make any choices. You got to keep moving forward. Yes.
Well said.
All right. Well, I want to make sure that our audience knows how to learn more about Fin3 Technologies and how they might get in touch with you, Jeff, if they have any questions.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Donna, for your time on this broadcast. We are available at www.fin3.tech, and you'll see our tagline and all talks about pioneers in a very common theme in terms of pioneers in digital assets, and you guys are pioneers kind of in payments, so perhaps the right theme for us both to be connected on that front. And I'm at Jeff at fin3.tech. And we would love to share our perspective on what's going on with tokenized deposits, stablecoins, digital drafts, and where we see the momentum headed. So thank you very much for your time, Donna.
Yeah, no problem. I want to thank you for your time today and for your insights. And I also want to thank everybody for watching today. Thanks for joining us.